Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In today's video of the ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, I wanted to have a look at the current status quo of the conflict, where we were 1 year ago, where we are at now, and who is winning the current war as we speak. So I'll cut to the chase very quickly, and then I will explain my rationale for what I'm about to say. So as of right now, the Tigray Defense Forces, the Tigray region, is still winning the war that is taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. Now, if we go back and we look at all the way to January of 2020. Again, we know for a fact that Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed, the two leaders of their two regimes, met in January and then met multiple times in each other's respective capitals and other areas as well to formulate a plan that would involve the conquest of the Tigray region, a joint operation, not a law enforcement operation, but a true military combined operation between the states of Eritrea and Ethiopia to launch an invasion into the Tigray region, conquer, arrest, and or kill key leadership members of the Tigray region of the TPLF, and form a new transitional Tigray regional government inside of the Tigray region. And that occurred from January all the way to November of last year. And in November of last year is when the invasion took place after a series of significant engagements and heavy fighting. The entire Tigray region, with the exception of the Timbian, was occupied by the forces of the Eritrean army and the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, heavily supported by regional paramilitary militias. Now, over the course of that occupation, the Tigrayan Defense Forces turned to more of an insurgency type of operation, a asymmetrical guerrilla warfare type of operation, which eventually wore down the Ethiopian National Defenses. It wore down the Eritrean army. It wore down the Amhara regional militias that were deployed inside of the Tigray region. And again, folks, we're just simply looking at this from the historical record on what actually happened and what is happening right now. Okay? No bias. This is just what actually occurred. And if you disagree with this, well, you can absolutely disagree with that. That's your choice. You can then turn to state media and get your fill of propaganda. Feel free to do that. But anyway, where were we? The Tigray region was occupied. We saw large scale insurgency and guerrilla and military operations take place by the continuing to mobilize Tigrayan Defense Forces, which effectively mobilized its forces from a state where it was not ready to fight the joint forces of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces and the Amhara regional militias and the Eritrean army itself. But after a fairly significant conflict, all those forces were driven out of the Tigray region. So again, what was the battlefield goal? What was the war objective of Abiy Ahmed? What was the war objective of Isaias Afwerki when they launched this miscalculated campaign to invade the Tigray region? Well, that's what it was. It was to invade and control the Tigray region. It was to remove the TPLF leadership and other Tigray regional leadership from positions of power and install its own sympathetic government inside of the Tigray region, inside of the capital of Mekelle. And it initially was able to do that for a very short period of time. Unfortunately for those folks, those leaders were either assassinated or driven out of power, and the sympathetic collaboration government, backed by Abiy Ahmed, backed by Isaias Afwerki, it was defeated and it was removed from power. So one of the main war goals, war objectives, again, occupy the Tigray region permanently, establish forces in the Tigray region permanently, and install a sympathetic collaboration government inside of the Tigray region. And that war goal was initially met for a very short period of time and then failed, and then was driven out via counterattacks by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. Then the Tigrayan Defense Forces, after being fully mobilized, after driving out the Eritrean army, after driving out the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, after driving out the Amhara regional militias, and again, that was not the intent, that was not the war goal of the Abiy Ahmed regime, to be driven back out of the Tigray region and have that collaboration government removed from power. But it was defeated. Both armies were defeated, removed from the Tigray region, and the collaboration government was removed from Mekelle. After that, the Tigrayan Defense Forces launched a massive invasion of the Amhara region, taking many, many towns and cities, driving all the way to Dessie and Kombolcha, seizing Dessie and Kombolcha, very key, crucial, both industrial and trading towns, and then further heading south and then threatening Addis Ababa. So again, at the start of the conflict, Abiy Ahmed and Isaias Afwerki at no point in time would have foreseen a counter-invasion where Addis Ababa would have been threatened by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. That was not in the game plan and was not accounted for. And then where do we sit now? We still sit in a status where the Tigrayan Defense Forces are still fortifying areas in the Amhara region. They are still in control of areas of the Amhara region. Again, the initial war aim, the initial war goal was not to have the Tigrayan Defense Forces invade the Amhara region. The initial war goal and war aim was not to have the Ethiopian National Defense Forces lose 100,000 personnel in combat. That was not the war goal. That was not the war aim. So when you take into context the war goal and the war aim of Abiy Ahmed, of Isaias Afwerki, after being driven out of the Tigray region, after its intent was to hold the Tigray region with a collaboration government, after that was defeated and driven out, after we've seen renewed invasions of the Amhara region, of the Afar region, and other areas of Ethiopia proper by the fully mobilized Tigrayan Defense Forces, those war goals and war aims have not been met. The initial war goals and war aims of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, of Abiy Ahmed and its Amhara regional allies, have failed. It not only failed a little bit, they have failed significantly. Again, the status quo right now, according to Abiy Ahmed, was to have continued to occupy the Tigray region with a collaboration government. That is gone. The TDF is in full control. The TPLF is in full control of the Tigray region with the exception of Western Tigray. And again, that has not been fully rectified as of yet. We could still see some more activity by the TDF in Western Tigray as we speak. But again, the status quo right now in terms of the initial war goal and war aim of the Abiy loyalists was not the current status quo we see right now, is a fully autonomous and independent Tigray region that now occupies fairly significant portions of the Amhara region. No matter where you sit on whichever side that you take in terms of the ongoing conflict, the initial war goals, the war aim of the Abiy loyalists have failed. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that war goal has failed, and now they're fighting in the Amhara region. Now, granted, within the last 2 months after Addis Ababa was threatened by both a joint operation of the Tigray Defense Forces and the Oromo Liberation Army, which still occupies large areas of the Oromia region. Again, that was not the case at the start of the conflict. The start of the conflict, the Oromo Liberation Army did not occupy the same amount of land and territory and cities and towns that it does now. So again, at the beginning of the war to where we sit now, the Abiy loyalists are in a much more precarious situation. The economy is collapsing and constricting. Hyperinflation is setting in. That was not the war goal, the war aim. And a lot of that has to do with the amount of money that is now being spent, the amount of lives that are being cost at the expense of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces by doing large-scale and mass conscription in order to save Addis Ababa. Again, at the onset of the conflict, it was never foreseen that large-scale conscription and the defense of Addis Ababa would even be remotely thought about. So again, as this conflict continues to evolve and change, it is by no means over. And again, right now, the TDF still holds the advantage. It has denied the Abiy loyalists its war aims, its war goals, and most likely will continue to deny those war aims and war goals. Granted, there is some challenges right now in regards to external actors intervening in the conflict, not just the Eritrean army, but now you have the Turkish armed forces, the People's Republic of China supplying some very advanced systems, which has changed the equation. And again, if not for those systems being deployed, the TDF probably would be in Addis Ababa by now. But again, we're going to continue to monitor the situation. This is the status quo. The TDF still controls Waldea and large areas of the Amhara region, and the Eritrean army is out of the Tigray region as well. But again, we're going to continue to monitor the situation and report, and we will have soon, very soon, more content for your consumption. Also, just please note, we could be reporting on something fairly significant here within the next few weeks in the course of the conflict. Have a good day, everybody.